Hello and welcome to the weekly round. This is the third day of our campaign of 11 days saluting veterans up to Veterans Day. And we all know November 10th is the day of all Veterans Days. It's the Marine Corps birthday. I mean, I don't think there's a weird way or it's coincidental that Veterans Day and Marine Corps birthday kind of fall, close into one another, but that's neither here nor there. Anyway, that's for another time, I guess. That's for next year's 11, days for veterans and all that. We've got a heck of a show today. I tell you, we have a Bryan Cross on the show today. One of the most amazing guys in the world. I tell you, I have a lot of guys on the show, and I try to stick with good character. Ironically, I haven't always been the best of character, but I try to get the best of the best here, just like all Marines. We got good character guys, and Bryan is one of them, right? Amazing guy. So we lost a guy close to us. Holy smokes, to say we lost one. We lost about 4 Marines in the span of 3 months that were close to us. And the last one that we lost, I text Bryan and I said, "Hey man, we lost, we lost we lost Davis to suicide," and he had the same reaction that we all did. It's funny because when we lost Davis in early this year, it was right after we lost 3 other friends, and man, I get choked up just thinking about it. We all acted the same way. Like, I can't effing believe that this is happening. This is my number. If you ever have an issue where you're going to take your life, you call me. And it's funny because after that, I just put it out there. Like, you know what? I've lost 4 friends in 5 months to suicide. If anybody, even people I didn't even serve with, just call me. And you know what? I'm going to give you a good reason not to do it. I'm not only going to give you one good reason, I'm going to give you multiple good reasons. It doesn't matter if you have penis folliofo disease. I don't care. It doesn't matter if you're $1 million in the hole. I don't care. There is solutions that can overcome the problems. I promise. I'm gonna give you a story. True. I'm gonna end up regretting telling this story, I have a feeling, but you know what? This is all about kind of being real, and I want that. I got myself in deep a few years ago. I owned some oil wells with another guy. I got to the point where it was desperate. It was desperation time. And we tried undercutting another guy on a water contract down in South Texas. Water, as you all probably know, you don't have to be a rocket scientist or an engineer to understand that water in South Texas is hard to come by, especially for production and operation water. So we undercut the other guy down in South Texas in Starr County that was selling it. He was selling it for about 75 cents to $1.50 a gallon. So we put it out there. We'll sell our production water for half. As you can probably understand, this did not make that individual too happy. So I ran a tour on my wells for about 2 weeks. Cal called me and she said, "Hey, we haven't seen you in 2 weeks. You're making peanuts. Oil's, I think it was like $30 some a barrel." And she said, "What are you doing?" And I said, well, we got to do this. This is our livelihood for like a $700 a week check. I mean, it was so stupid. Actually, it was $700 every 2 weeks. I remember the last check we got was about $2,300, I think. Anyway, she said, "What are you doing?" And we sat down in our bedroom, and she wasn't working. She was a stay-at-home mom. And, we were living outside of our means, and I said, we need to hit the reset button. I need to get a job. You need to get a job until we sell this whole entire mess and get out of it. And we need to get our son some education, and we just need to get our lives in order. This is insane. I say that a lot. This is insane. That's my saying. This is insane. So yeah, we moved back to Buffalo out of San Antonio, Texas. I'd say about 6 months after we moved back, I got a letter from Ken Paxton, the state AG of Texas, and he called me, and he said, "Michael, how would you like to pay for this fine?" And at the moment, I just had one fine for the 5 wells, and each fine was $250,000. So he's like, "I can set you up on a payment plan, a $40,000 to $45,000 a month payment plan. This should get taken care of pretty quickly." And I said, and at the moment I had like negative $160 to my name, and I basically gaffed him off, right? And make a long story short, I sold the oil wells, and it didn't break even, but I got out of it, and had a lot of debt, and my anger, depression, and overcame me, and I said, "Today's gonna be the day. Today's gonna be the day." And my autistic son walked downstairs, and he said, "Daddy, no, I love you." And he gave me a hug, and he walked upstairs. And that's when I said, "It's my time. I gotta pull. I gotta go over to the toolbox, pull a head pulling from the ass machine, and pull my head from my ass, and get this right." And so I did, and I'm reaping the benefits of it today, because I did that. And I say that to say this. I tell the story and show my vulnerability, because everyone goes through it. Nobody's immune to the depression and all the madness that you go through if you don't give a little bit, right? No matter what, you're in a relationship, either a friend relationship, you have to give a little bit. In a relationship with a spouse, you have to give a little bit to get a little bit. Or your relationship spiritually, you have to give a little bit to get a little bit. And admitting that you need help is the first step. And if anytime you lose a buddy, especially in the Marine Corps, anytime you lose a buddy, you always blame yourself. What could you have done? The same old stuff. And we lost it. One is a lot, and we lost some good guys that really meant a lot to a lot of us. Just really great men that couldn't handle, however it was, just couldn't handle it, and it ended up being tough. I couldn't imagine doing that. So I tell you, once again, we've got a great show, Mr. Bryan Cross. So once again, when I reached out to Bryan, let him know, hey, we lost another buddy, and he had the same reply that I did. If you ever have a problem, call me. And remember, I haven't talked to this guy in 12 years. Seriously, I haven't physically sat and talked to the man in 12 years. And at the time, he was dating a girl, and he was head over heels for the girl, and he was just happy, and it was just good to see him happy. And but he wasn't focused on anything in my life or anybody else's. But so whenever I reached back out to him, it was he was enthusiastic and but compassionate, and an amazing guy. An amazing Marine also. He definitely he always did what he could to do go that extra mile for people, and I'm pretty sure he's the same way now. But he's gonna make a good show. He's gonna make a good guest. One final thing I kind of want to hit up with here before I jump to commercial and bring Bryan in. Every holiday, every year we make it around the sun, and we have this holiday, this Veterans Day holiday, and you always ask the kids, hey, what is Veterans Day to you? Oh, isn't it when we celebrate all the military members that we lost? No, that's Memorial Day. Oh, isn't that when the country became independent? No, that's Independence Day. Oh, what is Veterans Day? Veterans Day is that time where you just celebrate. You celebrate all of them, right? Because we take a beating. We're broken down shotgun style, mentally and physically, and we get whooped. And sometimes we get taken for granted. And just like I see it all the time, and even in the military, the saying is real. The 10% drive the 90%, and it's true. So when you get out and you get amongst the people and you start talking to different people, and they say, you know what, some vets are just garbage. I'm not going to lie to you. Some vets are garbage, but they're still vets, and they made that ultimate sacrifice. Doesn't matter really their honor, their discharge. I guess it does, but my point is, if you have an opportunity to thank a vet this Veterans Day, just appreciate what they sacrificed, because they signed the dotted line, they made the selfless act, they got on the footprints, and they said they'll do it. So just thank a vet, because it's definitely worth it. Sit at the dinner table and just have a conversation with your kids. Just say, you know what, this is what it's about. And those people, when you get to go to your Starbucks, on Black Friday, and you enjoy your crappa lappa flappa flappa lappa 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 latte with a cherry, just remember there's probably a vet sitting in a mud hole, eating a mud sandwich, just dreaming about being home with his old lady, probably kiss his mom goodbye, and he's thinking maybe for the last time. So just take that, talk to your kids, talk to your family, just appreciate it. Just appreciate it this holiday, that you have it pretty good. You have it pretty good. But appreciate everyone for listening. Have an amazing show. We have an amazing audience, so keep it up. And I thank you so much. Thanks again. We're going to commercial.
Do you find yourself shooting dinosaurs? Do you find yourself in the need to shoot spiders? Let us take care of all your gun, ammunition, and accessory needs. While you're at it, do you have a problem with monsters?
I was not ready for that.
All right, there, weekly rounders. We got a Mr. Bryan Cross on the show. I tell you, this guy, genuine and sincere as possible. One of the most fun guys I've ever served with. Bryan, introduce yourself, partner.
Hey, how you doing? I'm Bryan Cross. I'm from St. Louis, Missouri. Currently, I live in River Falls, Wisconsin, and that's me.
10-4. So when I worked with Bryan in the Corps, we were stationed together in Cherry Point. We worked at VMAT 203. We beat up the Harriers as much as they beat us up. we were the night crew guys, so we worked from 3 to 4 in the afternoon till 7 o'clock in the morning, and we did the man's bidding. So
Definitely.
but just like we talked about, um, we had a buffet of shit sandwiches that we ate, and we passed on to everyone else. But that's the Harrier Community 101. So,
Yeah. Yeah,
hey
it
man,
is.
have you talked to Scribe at all?
I have. Scribe went through some stuff. Me and Scribe started off. When I first met him, I was a corporal. And that was back in like I want to say like 99. I want to say when I first met Scribe. And he came from Yuma, Arizona with me all the way over to Cherry Point after I had got there, maybe about a year or two or whatnot, and he followed me over there. And I talked to Scribe. It's been about 2 or 3 months. He went through a little tragedy. His son was murdered out in LA, and so we all rallied behind him and stuff like that, and gave him some words of encouragement, stuff like that. So, I'm still glad that I got that relationship with him. That he actually messaged me when it happened. The next day after it happened, he wanted me to know that it went down. So it was sad because I had known his son Isaiah since he was a baby. You know what I mean? You know how it is in the Marine Corps. Once you got a guy, he's part of your family in the Marine Corps. His kids are your kids. No matter how long it's been since you talked to him. So yeah, I still keep in contact with him. He's doing good. He is working on diesel trucks and stuff like that. Still in, I believe he's in California, like Bakersfield now. So
Yep.
yeah, that's what he's up to.
Yeah, yeah.
So good dude.
When his kid passed, I did the most I could. Unfortunately, I wish I could have done more. I just donated to his GoFundMe campaign he had going on, and just did the same thing. Just open the door of communication. Said, whatever I can do, dude. I
Yeah,
more power to him that he can go through that and come out a better man on the other end, because that's a trying thing to go through.
definitely. Losing a kid, none of us ever want to lose a kid. The order it's supposed to go is your parents go, you go, then your kids go. You never want to be that one still around and your kid is gone. You know what I mean? So it's tough on him. It seems like he's picking up the pieces somewhere and trying to move on with some sort of normality in his life. So yeah, I'm proud of him for getting past that first hump. You know what I mean? Because that first hump, he was angry. He was angry as hell. And knowing where he's come from, what we did in the Marine Corps and stuff like that. All the stuff that he had to go through. I know that his life was a little tough. So yeah, he's picking it up though, man. He's doing good. He's smiling, and
Yeah.
that's the good part about it.
Amen. And it absolutely stinks about when we lost. Oh my gosh, why can I not remember his name? Davis. Davis at the beginning of this year.
Oh, yeah, Ryan hurt, man. Because
Yeah.
here's the deal: Ryan was active. His daughter was at Kentucky, and she was doing gymnastics at Kentucky. And and I was following. I was messaging him. Congratulations on your daughter doing this. Seems like her gymnastics career was going into the national level, maybe not Olympic level, but national level, to where she was starting to get ready to compete for national titles and things like that in college. And he was all about it. He was a straight girl's dad, you know what I mean? And then next thing you know, it was like, bam, he's gone. Davis is gone. And I'm like, what the hell? I had just talked to him and congratulated him on his daughter's success and another season complete, blah, blah, blah. And it was over. I'm like, wow, that's crazy. And then maybe a month later we lost Kane. You
Yep.
know what I mean? And it was like Kane was, one of my best, power line guys. And I was like, what the hell, man? Kane's gone too. You know what
Yes,
I mean?
sir.
It's
And,
bad.
and shortly after that, we lost Vargas.
Yeah, yeah.
Which was
And
tough.
then Vargas, yeah. It's rough, man. And I was just telling my wife, I don't know what it is, but mentally I gotta take care of myself. Physically I need to start doing more. I mean, hell, we're getting older and our minds are going and things like that, and you don't have that same camaraderie that every day talking to somebody, being in the shit with them. You don't have that anymore out in the civilian sector. You know what I mean? So you kind of cling to whatever you possibly can. It's that's the tough part about. I think people don't recognize is that no matter whether you got a combat action ribbon or not, you were in the thick with some people. You know what I mean? And those people were your family, and you had support. No matter how bad or how many jokes you took or anything like that, you had support and you had a family and you loved it. And unless you have that same type of support system once you get out, people don't understand that we start to spiral. You really do. Yeah, and it's tough. It's tough to watch your former buddies, your former Marines, and things like that. They start to spiral and shit like that. It ain't cool, and especially to see it on a platform like Facebook, and it's like, holy shit, they're gone,
Yep.
and then you start to think, am I next? Am I going to start spiraling too? So it's just nasty business, man.
And see, I'm glad you brought it up that way. Isn't it really? We learn how to cope, and then there's guys like us where we know that we're a phone call away, no matter what.
Yeah,
Holy shit, haven't talked to you in what 10 years, brother. And I said,
yeah,
hey, I text you like, hey, we lost Davis, and it was like, it was like we never stopped talking. Like, geez, I can't believe this. How are you doing? Here's my number if you ever need it. Um,
right.
and the problem is there's the guys that will never reach out or text somebody or admit that they're weak, and it's
Yeah,
tough. It's tough admitting that. It's tough making that step. And I hate. No, it doesn't matter if we got along or didn't get along. Like, just call me, text me, whatever.
yeah,
I'll We'll bring you back to earth. No matter who it is, we'll bring you back to earth, because taking it is it's not worth it. It ain't worth it.
yeah. No, it ain't. It ain't. And for those of us that do have kids and things going on and stuff like that, you start to when you start to think that way about wanting to take care of it all. You know what I mean? Uh, you don't think about those people in that instant. You know what I mean? And what you're robbing them of. And it's really really hard, man. It is a conversation I've had with my wife. Dealing with struggles, being out of the Marine Corps and things like that. And luckily I did have a good support system. Because we all get weak at times, man. We
That's
all
the
get
truth.
weak and wonder whether it's worth it or not, or anything like that. And one thing about the Marine Corps, it builds something in all of us that it's lasting. That feeling of camaraderie is built into you from the day you step on the yellow footprints to the day that you sign and you go to TAPS. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It it's something that's lasting. It stays in you, and hopefully either you build off of it, or like I said, you spiral like some people that we've lost. It's tough.
It is tough, and we can kind of make you up to that point where we're sent to boot camp and we're kind of broken down and they rebuild us. You're taught a way to cope, and different ways to do it. And then whenever you get out, you can either build upon that, or you can fall in different ways. It's funny because when guys do get out and they pursue and take and kind of make the wrong decisions here and there, that when they do kind of build themselves back up and get back on their feet, that one thing can knock them back down, and then they're just spiraling back down again. And it's just it honestly, it's tough to watch, and that's why I always put out, ever since I got out, I've been out for 12 years now. I always put out, sporadically, like, hey, anybody just needed to BS, here's my number. Just call me, text me,
Yeah,
whatever. I don't care. And I hear from people. I hear people that I'm surprised that I hear from. But it is what it is.
yeah, definitely, definitely.
You know what I'm saying? But you know what? We can we can talk about the bad stuff. We got lots of really great things to be happy for.
Yeah,
Sun's coming up, and we got lots of great things to be happy for, man.
yes,
Um,
we do.
Speaking of, man, besides the cross farm putting out great things, what do you got going on there?
So yeah, of course, like you mentioned, I I have a farm. I never thought this kid from St. Louis, Missouri, coming from Ferguson, the start of all this riot mess and stuff like that. Never thought that a kid from Ferguson would actually end up on a farm, but I did. So once I got out, I ended up just sat around for about 9 months, and then I ended up going to get my AMP license because I was one of the guys that procrastinated. I didn't take the opportunity to get my AMP, which is my civilian mechanics license for the people that don't know. I got my AMP, and then I started working for Trans-States Airlines, and I got hired as a maintenance controller to start off with, which is rare because you need civilian experience in order to start there. But of course, with the Marine Corps, they saw my training jacket and they were like, "Wow, you got a lot of experience in maintenance control. You want to work for us." And who Trans-States Airlines was at that point, because the business went under. Trans-States Airlines was the old TWA. Okay, and so I started working for the old TWA, and I worked for them for about 9 years. And then when COVID hit, uh, the owner of the company had two companies. He had Trans-States Airlines and he had GoJet Airlines. Actually, three. He had Compass also. And what he did was he decided, well, is my oldest company, and the jets they're not doing so well. So that business went under, and he kept the other two. And when he did, when COVID hit, we all got laid off at Trans-States Airlines. So I sat in my house and contemplated things, and me and the wife started talking, and then we were like, well, let's we got some savings and things like that. Let's look into possibly creating some generational property. And so when the hunt went out to look for generational property to pass on to my kids, because I mean, heck, too late in life, most of us we don't start thinking about our futures. Uh, I was never going to be a millionaire, so I wanted to leave my kids something, and so we ended up finding 20 acres in Wisconsin. But before that, I actually got a job for Endeavor Airlines, and Endeavor is owned by Delta. So I work for Delta Airlines. We just fly the smaller jets, the CRJ 900, 700, and the 200s for Delta, in and out of the small connecting airports and things like that. And they brought me up to Minneapolis. I was like, it's cold, but I'll take the job. No
Yeah.
big deal. I need to get back in the swing of things. And once I got up here, we found the farm, and the farm is just growing, man. When we came up, we had it was three chickens on the farm, and then we came up moving day, and I guess a raccoon had got to those three chickens, so we didn't have anything,
No chickens.
and yeah, no chickens to start a farm out, and I was like, okay, well, that's no big deal. So the farm has grown to what? I got 10 chickens now. I got two pigs. I got two goats. I got three dogs myself, and two barn cats out there on 20 acres. My barn's behind me. I got a garage in my shop, that I work out at, things like that. Do work on my cars, and yeah, I'm still working night shift. I've been in Endeavor for over 2 years now. I'm working night shift maintenance control for Endeavor from 5 p.m. to 5 a.m. And yeah, I get up still in the morning at 9 o'clock. After my shift at 5, I get up and I do my farm work. Then I take a nap and I start it all over again, brother.
Oh yeah, dude. Awesome. Absolutely
Yeah,
awesome. Yeah, it's so great that when you see and hear people that we've served with, or people that you just know, and you just hear them doing good in life. It's like it's euphoric. It's just so great
yeah,
to hear that you're doing good, man. It really is.
yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah, like you said, you see a lot of the guys and things like that, and they're doing pretty good. Like I talk to Squires. Squires talks to me a lot. Uh, Squires is actually homesteading.
Oh, is that right?
Now. Yeah, he's homesteading. I mean, here's this straight laced mechanic guy, really, really great personality, little redhead dude. And him and his old lady, they bought like 7 to 10 acres or something like that. And he, unlike me, he's starting from ground up. He's building his own house. He's dug his own well. He's totally off the grid, solar power, all that good stuff. I mean, he's all about it, I
Awesome.
mean, I'm not that all about it, I got a tractor and all that good stuff, but I'm not starting brand new, you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Oh yeah.
I think Hackney's roughnecking it, I believe. I talked to him. Yeah, he's in and out of Texas. I think he's working on like oil rigs and things like that. So yeah, there's a lot of guys that we ran across that are really, really striving, succeeding out here and doing really, really good things for people, with people. You know what I mean? Because, like you said, there's a lot of good to share around, and like when guys see opportunities, like Hackney passed on an opportunity the other day that somebody could make six figures. Just give him a call, and he could take care of them. And I'm like, wow, that's pretty good.
Hmm.
So
That's the
yeah.
truth. When so I was down in Texas for a while, and I owned five wells. And around the time that we first purchased them, Hackney reached out to me, and he was getting out, and he's like, "Hey, what's this oil field stuff about?" I'm like, "Bro, your world's about to be turned upside down. I'm just letting you know." And he got in on the completion side, on the wireline side. So yeah,
Okay.
he's doing pretty good, and it's just just like you said, it's just good to see. It's good to see the guys that we got out with, making a career of themselves, and
Oh
making
yeah,
something happen. Old boy showed a picture of his garage. He's got like two Mercedes.
I saw
He's got
that.
a Lexus. So yeah, old
I
Hackney, he's doing
saw
all
that.
right.
I was like, somebody is definitely flexing their muscles. Some people here, that's for damn sure.
Uh-huh.
Like Watt for you remember it was Jody Watt. He was a airframer. He owns his own trucking rig. He's
I
got his
saw
own
that.
rig, and I think he's running down in Alabama, Mississippi, things like that, and back and forth through Texas. He's doing some good things. He was sent a video out of like him and his Mercedes, the damn thing's talking to him like it's a Knight Rider kit car and shit like that. Then
Oh
he's
yeah.
also building. We've talked a little bit because I'm building a 70 Chevelle right now, and he's building his through somebody else, and I was picking his brain off some things that he's doing for his stuff, but he's doing well. His little business is thriving, stuff like that. So that's good on them, man. Real
Yeah,
good.
man. Absolutely. Absolutely. So
It just shows you that you don't have to have that use your aviation, experience to do still succeed out there. You know what I mean? So that was pretty cool.
well, it's the Marine Corps eat a shit sandwich experience that I think that relates into being successful in life. If you can eat a shit sandwich and not
Yeah.
let it destroy you, then you pretty much can do anything. This is how it is.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Dude, we could talk. We could talk catch
Yeah.
up all day long, man. We got the midterms coming up here in a few days, man. Dude, tell me what you think. It's not a biased show, so just tell me what you think.
You know what? I really avoid a lot of politics talk. People get angry about
They
politics.
do.
But the midterms, I follow like a lot of people. They follow like the presidential race and things like that. I more so follow what's going on around me. And I've just found a lot of local stuff that's happening that I was pretty excited about. Like me and my wife were talking the race between Mandela Barnes and Johnson up here in Wisconsin.
Hmm.
I believe they're running for Senate is
Yes,
what they're
sir.
running for, and that's the race I've looked into the most so far. It seems to be the most that's coming on television here. So I started doing a little research, watching a couple of videos of these debates and things like that. I'm really impressed with what Mandela Barnes has been saying. I got to be honest. I know maybe this is a big no-no for people. I don't vote either red or blue. You know what I mean?
I'm
I
the
look at
same
what's
way.
best. My opinion is I look at what the issues are that people are talking about, and then I vote for what's going to best help my family in the long run. And I believe in local government more so than looking at the president, because even though the president is the head of the nation, you know what is happening more so in Washington doesn't affect me more than what's happening in Wisconsin. So therefore, if somebody that I can, write a letter to, like Mandela Barnes or the governor and things like that in the state of Wisconsin to help what's going on, then I look at that more so. And like I said, I looked at Mandela Barnes. I like what he's talking about. His things that he's standing for are things like bringing the state of Wisconsin back together. Because there's a lot of, whether you want to talk about it or not, there's a lot of divide I feel uh, between people. You know what I mean? And that's, the United States is more than just Republican and Democrat. We're a people. You know what I mean? And the people still have to come together and work together. And that was one of the biggest things that the Marine Corps taught you. It didn't matter what fucking color you were.
Yes,
You know what I
sir.
mean? You still got to come together and you still got to get a job done. And I believe in protecting the people. I believe in doing what's best. Like one of the issues is talking about inflation, and things are high. Things are really high, and
Yeah, it's
it
hot.
helps that I'm a little self sufficient out here on on my farm and stuff like that. Getting some groceries out there in my yard and things like that, and collecting stuff from my chickens, or I get a cow or whatnot, or get a half a cow. I can help myself, but uh, I don't believe that the government can really hit. Inflation is inflation. It happens in every generation. It goes up, it goes down, it goes up, it goes down. Uh, so I don't feel that what Johnson is trying to do is stop inflation. I don't know if he can stop inflation, at his level. You know what I mean? And it's been a lot of slander going on and things like that. I don't get into slander, man. If
Yeah,
you're a
I'm
good
the same
person,
way.
you're a good person. Yeah, if I don't, I look past all the slander, and I strictly, listen to the facts. If you're presenting facts to me and it makes sense, then I'll buy it. You know what I mean? But if you're just going to sit there and slander people and you're not going to talk about any issues, my kids, my baby just turned 21, so I don't look into school. I got to be honest, I don't pay attention to school issues or school reform and critical race theory. I don't look into all that stuff, but that's not my issue. I look at what's going to help my kids in the future. I look at what's going to help me right now. You know what I mean? I look at, if you're going to talk about what you can do for me as far as Social Security goes. If you're going to be voting that way when you get to your Senate seat, you're going to be voting to help me at 62 years old maintain some sort of future for myself and for my kids. That's what's best for me, man. I mean, that's what I think about when I think of the midterms. I think that we've lost focus in the United States on what we should be looking at, which is our local government. A lot of
Absolutely.
people, they just get there and they just check. Yeah, a lot of. I mean, you don't really. A lot of people, they only know what's going on at the presidential level. You know what I mean? And they make a big deal out of it. But instead of actually reading about what's going on in your local government, the judges that are going to be coming back up and things like that, if you feel there's some you need some fresh blood, at the judicial level, at the local courts, then don't just get in there and just check yes to reelect this guy. You know what I mean? See what he's been doing. You know what I mean? See
Yes,
how many
sir.
people are being locked up and this and that, blah blah blah. You know what I mean? Stop just checking yes once you get to your local government section, just because you don't know shit. You know what I mean? There's a
Well, that's the
whole
truth.
information out there, and we just don't look at it.
That's the truth. And it really comes down to two things, and you completely nailed it. Number one, we're an entire country, and a country isn't a building. The country isn't, the Marine Corps. It's not an area of borders. The country are a bunch of people, and we're trying our best
It's
to
me and you.
just figure it out, and,
Yeah, it's me and you.
realistically, number two, we should be voting and voting for there. You shouldn't ever be voting for what the letter next to the guy stands for, or next to the guy or girl stands for. You should be voting for the policies, and I think we're so wrapped and we're making so many emotional decisions, and I think that that concept of making emotional decisions is infectious through starting in DC, and it's like a throwing a stone in the middle of a pond and just watching the ripple through the country. We're just making so many emotional decisions, and individuals with you know we can refer back to young Marines or Marines that get out that have that need a little bit of direction And these individuals take exactly everything that they see on TV that is extreme, and they're utilizing that extreme behavior, and they're making decisions, for their life, and
Right.
uh, and it affects, and that ripple just affects everything throughout the whole entire United States, and it's to the point where it's just infectious, and people need to get a clue, and start making decisions that make sense.
Definitely.
It's just sad, but it is what it is. The midterms are going to roll through, and everyone's going to be safe and sound, and we'll get it figured out, because we always do. United States always corrects itself. It's just how it is, because we're people and we're not a machine.
Exactly.
Um,
Exactly.
With that said, I ask everyone for the 11 days for saluting veterans on Veterans Day. I'm going to ask you the same thing, man.
Yeah.
What do you feel and about the American flag and the national anthem? What's it mean to you?
It's a symbol. It's still just like if we're sitting there in formation, you know what I mean, and that the flag comes by, just to talk about the flag first, it's a symbol for me. You know what I mean? You know, I think when I signed up, for the Marine Corps, I was like, okay, I need a job, I need a skill, and then once you get into it, you know what I mean? You go through your Marine Corps history and what the Marines have done and things like that. And then that flag, it starts to mean something to you, as a Marine, and definitely now that I'm out, I see the flag, I'm at, local high school football games and things like that. And they start to play the national anthem and the flag comes up. I still lock my body, feet at a 45-degree angle, hands on my trouser seam, all that good stuff. You know what I mean? I still do it, for me, that's what it means is that's what I do. I could put my hand, not be recognized in the crowd and do the same thing as everybody else. You know what I mean? But that's what I know. That's what feels so right to me is when you hear it, burn, 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 it comes on, and I lock my body. You know what I mean? It's that pride in you. You know what I mean? And now, however anybody else wants to celebrate that or not celebrate it or do what they want, that's what I fucking fought for, man. That's your right to do whatever the hell you want to do. I really don't care. You know what I mean? But for me, in my heart, this is what I stand for. And I don't knock any man for how he wants to uh, exercise his right. You know what I mean? That's it. That's it. That is his God-given right to stand, not to stand, to kneel, to do whatever. But I'm not gonna go bash him because he didn't stand up. You know what I mean? When the music started playing or the flag started to rise, you know what I mean? Because still, the United States for me is me and you again. You know what I mean? I
Yep.
fought for that guy. I went to Kuwait. I went to Iraq. You know what I mean? I went all the boat rides and things like that. I did all that shit for the people that I stand next to in the grocery store. You know what I'm saying? So it really
And
doesn't
can't
matter.
protect
But
themselves.
for me, yeah, the flag for me is it still gets me. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I still stand up. I still lock my body, and the music comes on. I don't say nothing. And, even when people start cheering, at the end and blowing, whistling and things like that at the end of it, I don't say shit. And that last note, all right, I'm free to move. So that's what the flag is for me. That's what the national anthem is. I think it'll always be that way, no matter how I feel about any subject matter that's going on in this country. Nobody will ever change how I feel about when the national anthem comes on or when the flag is being raised or walked past me. It just is what it is. you know
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You know, it's funny because whenever I went through boot camp in 2000, and I had a drill instructor. The guy was like 6'8", like 300 something. He was just a monster, and like maybe 0.5% body fat. And it was the first time he kind of explained to like a group of us what the national anthem is. And the more I get older, the more correct he is. And anyway, what he said
Mhm.
was, it's the only time ever in in history, in as being a human or as being anything, that everyone has a level playing field for 2 minutes. That the rich people aren't rich anymore, the poor people aren't poor anymore, that the CEO to the janitor, everyone has exact same level playing field. There's no black and white. There's nothing. It's just we're all
Yeah.
Americans, and you stand there and you just take a second and you appreciate that you're all American. There's nothing about anything. You're all equal, and you just
Yeah.
have to take that for a second and cherish it. And he's exactly right, and it's exactly what you said. That everyone has that ability to do whatever they want and believe it any way that they want, and that's the best part of it. That's the
Yeah,
best.
definitely.
That's the best part of it. I tell you what, Bryan, it has always been a pleasure not only knowing you but with serving with you, man. You are
Yeah.
you're the epitome of a great of great character, and it's so great when you first met your wife, to see you grow with her and build a family and build the Cross compound. It's just great to see, man. You're a hell of a guy.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, man, life has been good, and I appreciate that. And when I told my wife about, you messaging me about the podcast and things like that, she was like, "Oh, that's great, baby." You know what I mean? And I was like, "Well, when um, me and Mike were working together, in QA when we first started, dating again and stuff like that. But a lot of people don't know that me and her were in high school, middle school, and things like that together. So the relationship went way back. And to know that, there was somebody there in the beginning, like you, when we first, because I was head over heels,
Mm-hmm.
that you were there at the beginning, and I talked to you guys about it and shit like
Every
that.
day.
It's
Every
a little
day.
funny. It comes yeah, it comes a little full circle, man. But yeah, I appreciate it, man, and definitely the service with you was always great, man. I had fun, just chopping it up and being part of the guys. You know, good God, it just brings back a lot of memories about the Marine Corps and things like that that people just they just people won't get it.
Yep. That's it, man. That's it. It
So
gives you the tummy tingles, and that's what it's all about, brother.
yeah, it definitely does, man. I'm glad you're doing good. I didn't know that you were down there in Texas and things like that. Still wearing that stupid Giants hat I see, but yeah,
Yeah, man. I'm in Western New York now, so I gotta, I've had no excuse to wear a Giants hat for a few years, so now they're finally giving me an excuse to wear it again. So it's
that's all
honestly
good, man.
because I haven't
That's
had a
all
haircut, so it looks like I got an afro, so I had to put something on. So you know what I'm saying?
the bad thing is that a lot of people still say, like, I still shave my head. Every now and then I'll change it up, but I mean, I trim myself up and things like that. I just it's just one of those things, man. You just get into. I'm not one of those old veterans that I'm always wearing like this veterans T-shirt that tell you who I am, and I don't have on this Marine Corps this and Marine Corps that, and then I got my rank and tattooed on my jaw or some shit
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
My service,
That's funny.
a lot about my service is for me and for you guys. The guys that I love. To be in the shit with. You know what I'm saying? And that's who it is. If I see a old Marine or old veteran or anything like that, I talk to them. But I I really don't display, every day. Like, I got my Marine Corps stuff up just like you do, you know what I
Mhm.
mean, in the background, but that's within. It's something personal to me. I respect everybody for, their service and things like that. But, when I go out, unless you talk to me or ask me, nobody would know I'm a veteran or anything like that. But when I get around my guys like you or anybody else or scribe that I talk to, it's just like we never left, man. It
Mhm.
really is. I mean, we could probably spend hours, talking
Oh
about the
yeah,
shit or anything like that.
that's the
So
truth,
it's
dude.
uh it's a good time.
Dude, I got 30 seconds, man. Tell me
Yeah.
tell me what you learned. Hit me. 30 seconds. You're on the clock.
What I've learned is that good God, you just don't take anything for granted. You don't knock any experience that you've taken, and you take every experience, whether it's good or bad, you take it with a grain of salt and you learn from it. But always learn from your mistakes is what I've learned.
Amen. I couldn't say it any better myself. Bryan, you're amazing. You're the epitome once again of great character and somebody that everyone should have a relationship with. Thanks everyone for following us here on the 11 days of saluting veterans, and we're moving on. We'll get into some commercials. Thanks again.
Beijing has 3 goals working through the university system. The first is to influence the next generation of American leadership and how our rising crop of leaders perceives China. The second is to send Chinese students to American universities to acquire knowledge and skills, and then take that back to China. The third goal of Chinese operations on college campuses is intelligence, to collect sensitive information in research labs, especially at major research universities like Stanford and Harvard University. University presidents know this, and this is one reason why they're underreporting, misreporting, or keeping the names of foreign donors anonymous. They know what the Chinese are doing. They know why the Chinese give them so much money. They know their institutions are vulnerable to Chinese espionage. So why do they allow it? They're effectively inviting the Chinese to come in and steal American research.
See, I told you Bryan was an amazing guy, right? Hey, thanks everyone for listening, everyone for watching the third day of 11 days saluting a veteran, to Veterans Day, and appreciating, or not appreciating, but just listening to me. I appreciate it. Thanks everyone in the Weekly Round universe. See you tomorrow.